Good evening. I'd like to call the North Augusta City Council Monday, March the 14th, 2022 study session to order. Nice to see everybody. Thank you for being here, and I would turn it over to Mr. Jim Clifford.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have 3 items tonight. So the first will be covering the agenda for the City Council meeting for next week. Second item will be the department details. And then the third item will be an update on our information technology status for our migration. So with that, I'll go ahead and move into the first item, which is City Council meeting. And I'll skip to item number 5, which will be a proclamation by the mayor on Disabilities Awareness Month. And then on item number 6, under personnel, I hate to inform the team here that we're going to be losing Mike Strauss to retirement, and he's going to go take a position with the state-level American Legion there in Columbia, South Carolina. And so this will be a recognition of his service as a public safety officer and also our animal control officer, an Army of One on dealing with all the animal issues here in town. So big loss to the department. So that's we'll be seeing him off at the City Council meeting next week. Next item will be under item 7, which is the easement, which will be a second reading of ordinance number 2022-05 to abandon a portion of a water line easement located in Rushing Waters Phase 2 subdivision. Again, this was a water line area that they're not going to be using. So ultimately, they're going to abandon that easement requirement, or we're going to abandon that easement requirement. Under new business, item number 8, public services, resolution number 2022-15, a resolution authorizing expenditure from insurance proceeds to initiate electrical repairs at the material recovery facility. And so ultimately, in order to get the baler up and running full-time and allow us to do a greater volume of recycling, this will be a cost and investment to basically connect those apparatus via Dominion Energy to allow us to move forward on operations. So that will require an expenditure of funds to do that. If you have any questions on that specific item, I'll defer to either Rachel or James.
I think James mentioned this at another study session. I just drawn a blank. When it all said and done, what was the damage, the dollar amount, the damage of the MRF at that point, roughly?
Mayor, that's yet to be determined.
Oh, okay.
The adjuster is still doing an analysis on the equipment damage and such. We should hear from them hopefully any time, the sooner the better.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So I'll pause there for any questions. There are not many other items there on the agenda. It's a pretty thin agenda for next week. But if there's any questions, we'll go ahead and take those at this time regarding this agenda. Nothing heard from council, so we'll press and move on to our department of details. And just coming back from the happiest place on earth, I'll turn it over to Cammie Hayes.
Must be Disney.
So I just have utilities updates are March 16th and 17th this week. We have a Cycle 1 disconnect going on, and then next Monday, March 21st, we have a due date for Cycle 2. I just wanted to remind everyone that our business license for the 22-23 license year are due by April 30th to avoid a penalty, and the 21 tax year, which are collected in our 2022 fiscal year, those are due by May 1st to avoid penalty. That's all I have.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Cammie, when it comes to the business license, I know we're transferring to the April dates. In our office, it's still calendar January, I think January 1st, and so forth. When will we match those up? Like the stickers and so forth, things like that, how it gets matched up to the dates?
So the dates will still just reflect the one license year, and it's the year of renewal. So the licenses that will be issued this year will say 2022. And they do not expire until April 30th of 2023.
So the sticker process that we get is just gonna,
It will still continue to roll on the license year. It
Okay.
will, but for your gross income reporting, you can still report that on the calendar year,
Until-
if that's
okay.
what you're referring to.
okay.
You can report your gross income on the year that your business operates in, even though our license year has changed.
Thank you, Kami.
Thanks, Cami. And we'll go to public services. James?
Hi. I'm pleased to announce that our water treatment facility has been nominated and taken an award for the 2020 CDC Center for Disease Control Fluoridation Award for maintaining optimal fluoride levels in the water system. The
That's awesome.
The fluoride is a tooth decay preventer, and we're one of 27 in South Carolina who was recognized for that award. So staff and all has done an excellent job throughout the years maintaining good quality water for the city of North Augusta.
That's great. Thank you, James. That's awesome.
Moving further, on the utilities, our wastewater division, they're in the process, have already installed and replaced a 120 horsepower wastewater lift station pump. The existing pump that they replaced was worn out, and they installed a new pump that's gonna be more better for operations. It's also gonna pass a lot of the non-biodegradable rags that are injected and introduced into our wastewater collection system. That's gave us some problems with a lot of our pump stations in the past. Project's going real well. Pump's been set, it's in operation. We're currently in the process of preparing to cast in place a structure to house the pump itself. Over the next few weeks, you'll see our sanitation staff moving throughout the city, working on commercial dumpsters. They'll be inspecting them, replacing any lids or hinges or flanges that may be broken, and also painting them and installing new placards on the front of them with the city's information, instead of just in the past like we've done spray painting North Augusta. They're more appealing to the eye and more professional looking, and so we're going to get all those painted and looking.
I have a question for you. I noticed in several of the businesses that have commercial dumpsters, a lot of the screening in front of those dumpsters are gone. One that comes to mind is CVS.
Yes, sir.
Is that our jurisdiction, or do?
We
How do
don't
we-
maintain them, Mr. Brooks. I'll be glad to look into that for you and see what
We
needs to
would-
be done, or
Okay,
if any, if we can get some of that corrected for you.
okay.
Be glad to.
Well, if you just have an open dumpster and the wind comes, the purpose of the screening is to keep it inside where the dumpster
Yes, I agree.
Better
It
too.
also helps with the,
Looks better, too.
is. Yes,
it helps with the aesthetics of the surrounding area as well. So we'll
thank you.
see what we got. Any questions?
Next up will be
Thank you,
Tommy Paradise from Planning and Development.
Good evening. The Planning Commission will be meeting this Wednesday at 7 p.m., and I am very happy to announce that the SCDOT has authorized us to go out with the RFQ for the traffic calming and pedestrian study on George Avenue. That'll have to be advertised for 21 days, and there'll be a process after that, but that's a big step to get it moving forward.
Tommy, could you cover the sketch plan review as well for this week at the Planning Commission? What's going up?
We also met with some developers Tuesday afternoon about the Blanchard track. They came in, and it was not the meeting that Rachel and I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be kind of the kick the tires and see what was there, but they came in and they had their plan prepared. They had the investors there, and they were ready to move. And so we worked with Cully in our office and jumped on it and was able to get them on the agenda for sketch plan review for this Wednesday night. That will give the developers an opportunity to get an idea of what the Planning Commission thinks about the changes they want to make in that development and help them in their due diligence, making the decision whether to pull the trigger or not.
So for our citizens at home, and just from a naming convention, the Blanchard tract, which we're referring to as the Blanchard tract, is the large undeveloped parcel of real estate east of 520 near Fire Station 3. And if you're familiar with Highland Springs schools that are going up from Aiken County, that's going to be the southern end of that development. So it's important from North Augusta's perspective, or at least from the staff's perspective, to pursue this, because what we don't want to see is the schools being fully built without having a development there, and that's going to cause long-term zoning issues with where the kids are going to school. So we'd like to be able to start that right from the jump street of having the right kids going to the right schools without having to move people around. So it's in the city's best interest, I think, long-term for the parents as well, for us to be able to move forward on these projects. With that, I'll turn it over to Chief Thomas for Public Safety.
Mr. Mayor and Council, couple items. There is Public Safety will participate in the All About Change Ministries. I think this group's out of Augusta, and I got an email a couple months back requesting us, and of course, we'll attend and bring fire apparatus and police vehicles, hopefully get some officers out there with cop cards, and I'll check and see if we can get the K-9 unit out there too, and I think that's at Riverview Park, Saturday from 12 to 2.
No, a little longer than 2. I'll be there
Yeah.
for an hour from 12 to 1.
I think I'm gonna be there
A
from
little
12
later
to 1 too.
afternoon.
Yeah, but it's all good on Saturday, so the kids.
It's all about youth.
All about the youth, yes, sir. So
great.
hopefully we can get a crowd there. Several public safety officers who've been at the Criminal Justice Academy in Columbia. 2 graduated last week. We'll have 1 this Friday. And obviously, we've got several more to complete this process, and very proud of those individuals. Mr. Clifford alluded to Mike Strauss. We hate to lose Mike, but we're finally getting toward a replacement for Mike in the animal control position. So hopefully we'll have that person named very soon. Thank you.
Now, Chief, what is All About Change Ministries?
Ms. Carpenter, I don't
I've
know
never
a
heard
lot
of it.
about it other than the lady that I've been in correspondence with has the church in Augusta, and I've just been
Oh, is it a
communicating
church?
It's a church.
It is.
And one of their focuses is, this is all as a rally for youth. And
Can
very nice
anybody
they're doing here in-
come?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, can I show up?
Yes, I hope so.
I'd
They-
like to see that, yeah.
I haven't seen any advertisement other than what she sent me in the email, but I'm sure that's,
I got a flyer.
Okay, all right.
okay, thank you. Rick?
All right,
No,
next,
no, it's like 12 to 4.
next we'll have Parks, Recreation, and Tourism with Rick. How we doing?
Good. Thursday, North Augusta Miracle League Capital Campaign Kickoff event is from 7 to 8:30 p.m. upstairs in the Palmetto Terrace Ballroom. Richard Rogers will be our special guest master of ceremonies for the evening. I know Pat Carpenter's excited about that event just a little bit. Also, again, this weekend, for the 4th consecutive weekend, we have travel basketball scheduled Saturday and Sunday at the Riverview Park Activity Center. And as of today, there are 1,548 participants signed up for spring sports. Games are scheduled to begin in baseball, softball, and soccer the week of March 28th. So that's a large number for us, way back up. And one item on here that I forgot to put on here, we got some news in tourism that Dan Rogers of the South Carolina Film Commission will be coming to North Augusta on April the 18th to update photos for the South Carolina Film Location Database. So Randy's going to be working on a list to accommodate projects for maybe potential film and video projects from North Augusta. And also, I think we had a couple council people fill out the tourism website survey. We appreciate y'all's help with that. Thank you.
And I would just like to follow up what Rick's saying about our Miracle League campaign this Thursday. Everyone is invited. Everyone. So citizens who are listening, you are invited to come and just hear what's happening about the Miracle League and how you might make donations or how you can participate with it.
Yes, sir.
Will we be competing with Augusta or movies?
Good question. I don't have an answer to that one.
Nice older homes here that have been reestablished, that would be great backgrounds.
Never know.
Thank you.
Well, if we can get Clint Eastwood, I will be there.
All right, we'll have Tom Zeser from Engineering and Public Works.
I apologize, I may have mentioned this item previously some time ago. We just have not yet taken any action, but we have begun, and we've experienced some significant pipe failures in the Northwoods subdivision. We are basically paying for the sins of our past and some metal pipe that was installed in the 80s and 90s. And anyway, the good news is that all the failure damage is on city property within the detention facility in that subdivision. City crews are attempting to make a point repair at one location, and then we have some pipe on order. As soon as we get that, we will contract service for the bulk of the repair, the pipe replacement. But some residents on Ridgefield Drive and Edisto Drive may see a lot of activity behind their homes within that detention facility over the next several weeks. One other item, again, I apologize to council and the citizens and veterans of this city for the condition of the flag atop this building. If you noticed, it has become detached from the halyard, and we have, at this point, have no way to either retrieve it or raise it. So it is left in a sad state right now, hanging from the pole. I'm attempting to locate a contractor who is willing and able to access that safely and either hopefully get the flags, both flags restored, at least again temporarily, and hopefully we can once again engage in some discussion as to the permanent disposition of those flagpoles or the flagpole.
Thank you for what you're doing, Tom.
Thank you.
Next, we followed by J.D. McCauley for HR.
Good evening. Just have something different. We're going to do a job fair March 22nd. James is letting us come out there to his facility, and Tom has a position as well that'll be out there. We're going to do on-site interviews. It's going to be from 9 to noon. So want to help get the word out about that. And also, this is my plug for folks to visit northaugusta.net/jobs, as we are recruitment focused at the moment, like most folks are. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, JD. So that concludes item number 2, which is department details. And if we can move into item number 3 under Mayor's Matters, and we'll start off with a focus item on information technology updates. So I've got a couple words to say, if you don't mind, and then I'll hand this over to Ricky for the meat and potatoes of what we're going to talk about tonight with our overall transition. So tonight's study session is an update to council and citizens on our IT migration program. As Ricky will soon tell you, we have moved all email functions from a locally hosted server to a cloud-based architecture using Office 365, which can be used both in the office and remotely. Our next step is to transition our emails and website to a .gov domain. The .gov top-level domain exists so that the online services of bona fide U.S.-based government organizations are easy to identify on the internet. Increasing and normalizing its use helps the public know where to find official government information and where not to. The .gov Act of 2020, as part of the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2021, assigned the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, the management and the cyber defense role of all .gov sites. Among the provisions of the .gov legislature are two things I'd like to highlight. One, when online public services and official communications from any level and branch of government use the .gov domain, they are easily recognized as official and difficult to impersonate. And two, the citizens of the United States deserve online public services that are safe, recognizable, and trustworthy. So our city's migration to the cloud for Microsoft services and our migration to a .gov email and website will help with our overall cyber defense posture. And so with that, I'd like to turn this over to Ricky for a presentation to council, and this would be your opportunity to ask any questions about what's already occurred and will be occurring here in the near future.
Hey there, thank you. It's nice to be talking to y'all tonight. They don't let me out of the booth too much, so this is a treat. So what I've got for you tonight is a few slides. We're going to work through some background information, some basic question and answer type stuff, and then at the end, we're going to have basically the status of where we are now with the migration and what our ultimate end goal is to proceed with your approval. So I'll start out by saying that this migration has been on our radar for a couple of years, actually, since Mr. Clifford came on. One of his first questions to me was, why is North Augusta still on a .net domain instead of a .gov? So I remember explaining to him that, back in 1998, when we first established this domain, it was kind of like the Wild West of internet, compared to today's standards. So we knew we needed to do it. We needed to migrate. We just needed a window. And it just so happens that we were operating on an aging email infrastructure that needed to be replaced, and that seemed to be the perfect time to jump in there and start the migration. So the first slide states that we've been operating as a .net for almost 24 years now. So it's kind of been one of those things where if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So having said that, you may be asking yourself, why are we fixing it now? So there are a couple good reasons, and Jim had already mentioned a couple of them. One is security. When citizens of North Augusta are conducting business on the North Augusta website or just conversing with a staff member via email, we want to make sure that they have confidence that that they are in fact conversing with the city of North Augusta. The vetting process to get a .gov is much more strict than getting a .com, .net. Any Joe Blow can go out and buy a .com. I'll give you a quick example of a security issue. There's nothing stopping me from going out and buying a domain that maybe I want to try to get some information from citizens of North Augusta, and let's say I purchase official North Augusta Utilities.net. I get on social media a little bit, stir up some interest. Next thing you know, people are visiting that site, and I'm able to get maybe personal information, maybe credit card information, who knows. So that's the kind of thing that we're trying to avoid. And the vetting process, like I said, I was contacted. I know Jim and Rachel talked to people from .gov. The former mayor had to talk to them to make sure we were legit. So all that comes into play, as well as it costs a little bit more to have a .gov. So next thing, you can go to the next slide. Standards. As we look around, there's surrounding communities, and we'll find that a lot of people have already migrated to .gov that are government agencies. Some people, probably won't, but it's something that we need to go ahead and do. Standard naming conventions is the city, state, and then .gov. We had two choices. It was North Augusta SC.gov or North Augusta -SC, so we didn't want the people to type in a dash, so that's the easiest one, and that's the one we picked. So now, is NorthAugusta.net going away? And the answer is no. We're still going to have that. We're still going to retain the domain. It's still going to be in the background after 24 years of doing business as a .net. You can't just flip the switch and, convert with nothing, leaving everybody else behind. So basically the standard is you keep the old domain for a year or two, but there's nothing saying that we can't just keep it in the background, forever. It's not going to hurt anything. So what happens if people send an email to the .net address? Basically, it's going to be pretty transparent. It's just going to be forwarded to your .gov address. So, you won't see that, but it'll be happening in the background. Okay. This is just a basic illustration of that process. Somebody sends an email to rjones@northaugusta.net, and it goes through Office 365 and is sent to rjones@northaugusta.sc.gov. Yes, sir.
Ricky, when you then respond to that email, they'll see it off the .gov?
Correct.
Okay.
And that is one of the things
I'm
we
sorry,
get
here you
to.
are.
That's the
One step
reverse
ahead of you,
that.
I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. Any replies will come from the .gov.
Okay.
So, and that's the perfect time period for, people to maybe put a little something down in the signature or whatever saying, please, update your address book or contacts to reflect this new address. So, in the time span of a year or so, we should be good to go probably. Okay, so we're also changing, we'll also be changing the website as well. So the new address is the same domain, northaugusta.sc.gov. And the same thing kind of applies to like email. If somebody types in northaugusta.net, they will simply be redirected to the new domain and .gov. So it'll take them there automatically, even if they type in the old domain. Okay, so now we're getting to the status here. As far as email, we have, as of right now, we've migrated all the city users over to Office 365. We're no longer processing mail through the on-premise servers. It's still online, but it's only going to be used to facilitate the conversion to the .gov. It'll make it a little faster if we use our server here. So basically our plan is to, within the next 30 to 60 days, and our target date will be May 1st, is to have total conversion to .gov, and as well as the website to .gov with your approval to proceed. And that's basically all I have for y'all. If you have any questions.
So really for the council members, in a previous budget, you've approved this project. And so really what we wanted to do is give you a status update. Our intention is to still move forward. If there was concerns or objections, this would be a great forum to, put it out there on the table, and we can try to implement those changes if required. I think we've sensitized the council through, various sessions that we were going to be moving to a .gov format. And then when we look locally, we sit both in Edgefield and Aiken County. Both those counties are on a .gov domain. Our sister city here in Aiken County, the city of Aiken, is on a .gov domain. Across the river, Columbia County and Augusta, Richmond County are on .gov domains. There are some non-.govs in the area in some of the smaller towns. But ultimately, for a city of our size, it would be appropriate for us to move there. And I know a number of you have been targeted as far as phishing attacks or spear phishing attacks of, we'll get emails from, the mayor of northaugusta@gmail.com or something like that, asking for, help or credit card information or whatever else. And so there are obviously, hackers and scammers that are out there that are going to try to gain personal information. It's, it's not foolproof, But ultimately, .gov will give us a greater level of protection than we have now, and it's something that we ought to be doing as soon as we can. So, my intention is to move forward with this project with Ricky, but ultimately, we wanted to make sure you all are comfortable with our current status and where we're moving. So, subject to your questions.
Thank you for all your efforts on this. This is very good. Thank you, Ricky and Jim. Thank you for spearheading it.
Mr. Mayor, I turn it over to you.
Okay, I really only have two things. I just wanted to let folks know we will be having, I didn't get a chance to tell Pat and David because right before, but we didn't finalize it until this afternoon late. We'll be doing a ribbon cutting in front of Sheila's Bakery this Thursday, the 17th, the third Thursday at 6:15 to recognize the amenities that we have put in, this council has put in downtown. So just ask any citizens are out there, we'd love to have you come by. We're going to do the ribbon cutting right at 6:15 because we want the media to be there because they've got to then get over and do the Miracle Field. So the other thing I will give you a date out there is on April the 23rd, that's a Saturday at 9 a.m., we're going to have a community trash bash. And this is going to be an opportunity for us to get a lot of volunteers and pick an area of North Augusta. And we're going to pick an area each quarter, but we're going to begin the initial one. We're working with First Providence Foundation at the Hamburg-Cartersville African American Heritage District. We'll meet at the Society Building, and we'll have the several hours of picking up trash. Then we'll allow the foundation to talk about what they are looking at doing to revitalize that heritage district, which this council and Mayor Pettit designated the previous administration. And I think we're also going to tie in a little part of Earth Day. So I think it's going to be a great day for citizens out there. I want you to be there. This is all about, this is not driven by us as far as picking the trash up. We'll be there, but we need citizens out there. And it's a good opportunity to recognize what's happening in the Cartersville area, which is our heritage district. So I'm excited about that. So 9 o'clock. So besides that, that is all I have. So before we adjourn, is any other comments from anybody? Anything you want to say about Thursday? You good?
Excuse me. Hope a lot of people come Thursday because the Miracle League is a field that will be built here in North Augusta at Riverview Park. And it's for children and adults with special needs. And not only is it a baseball field, it will be a multi-purpose. We have movie night. We can play soccer. We can have our, it's like American Idol, but I can't think what they call it. All of our activities can be done there at that field. So this is going to be a big thing for North Augusta. Thank you.
Anyone say, Kelly?
Yeah, since it's being done on St. Patrick's Day, is the word to wear green and bring green?
Thank you, Kelly. Yes, right. Wear green and bring green.
That's a good. That's a good little quip there.
What about, you remember you said about us meeting the week of Masters, welcoming guests? Are we still doing
We're
that?
still finalizing.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions for the good order? Okay, this time we stand adjourned. Thank y'all. Appreciate it.